cold stone, grey sky, silent whispers of wind through ancient trees. Highgate Cemetery, a place of rest, a place of eternity. My eternity. I am but a whisper, a shadow clinging to the remnants of life, a forgotten memory etched in the cold stone of my mausoleum. The world moves on, a blur of color and sound beyond my reach. Here time holds no meaning. Days bleed into decades, centuries fade into the ether. The world ages, but I remain frozen, trapped between existence and oblivion. London, 1847. I remember the chill in the air, the dampness clinging to our worn-out shawls. Poverty's icy grip never loosened its hold on our family, but amidst the hardships bloomed a fragile flower of friendship. Alice Aldridge, with eyes as blue as the summer sky, became my solace. We built castles in the air, our laughter echoing through the grimy streets. We shared dreams of escaping our dreary existence. Alice yearned for a life on the stage, her voice as sweet as any songbird. Me, I simply craved a world bathed in warmth, where laughter chased away the shadows of despair. It happened so quickly. A persistent cough, a raging fever, then darkness. Consumption, they called it. It stole my breath, my dreams, my future. I awoke to silence. No pain, no fear, only a profound sense of detachment. I watched as my family mourned, their tears a symphony of sorrow. Alice, her face pale with grief, clutched my lifeless hand. And then I was alone, tethered to this cemetery, a silent observer to the ceaseless march of time. The world moved on, but I remained frozen in that final agonizing moment between life and death. Decades melted into a blur of seasons. Generations passed, leaving their mark on the world. I remained unseen, unheard, a phantom tethered to the cold earth. The living rarely lingered near my resting place. They moved with a quickness that betrayed their fear, their discomfort in the presence of death. How I yearned to reach out, to brush against their warmth, to remind them of life's precious fragility. But my voice was but a whisper on the wind, lost in the rustling leaves and the distant cries of crows. Then, one day, a young girl wandered into my existence. She seemed lost, not just in the physical sense, but in a way that suggested her soul was adrift. She moved with a quiet grace, her eyes reflecting a depth of sadness that belied her tender years. It was as if she carried the weight of the world on her young shoulders, a burden too heavy for someone so young. She paused before my mausoleum, her gaze lingering on the weathered inscription. Her fingers traced the carved letters, as if trying to decipher a long-forgotten secret hidden within the stone. There was a familiarity in her features, a spark in her eyes that stirred a long-dormant ember within my spectral heart. It was a spark that ignited memories of a time long past, of faces and voices that had faded into the mists of time. She reminded me of Alice, my dearest friend, her spirit echoing through time. The resemblance was uncanny, as if Alice herself had returned to visit me in this new form. The girl visited often, her presence a soothing balm to my eternal solitude. Each visit brought a sense of peace, a fleeting moment of connection that I had long yearned for. She spoke of her dreams, her fears, her loneliness. Her words were a window into her soul, revealing a depth of emotion that resonated with my own long-forgotten feelings. I listened, my spectral heart aching with a love that transcended the boundaries of life and death. In her I found a kindred spirit, a connection that bridged the chasm between the living and the dead. One crisp autumn afternoon, as the sun cast long shadows across the weathered stones, the air was filled with a sense of quiet reflection. The leaves rustled gently in the breeze, creating a symphony of whispers that seemed to echo the voices of the past. I felt an overwhelming urge to make contact, a pull that was both irresistible and deeply emotional. It was as if an invisible thread connected us, drawing me closer to the living world. The girl sat before my grave, her head bowed in concentration as she sketched in her notebook. Her presence was a beacon of life in this place of rest, and I was drawn to her creative energy. Gathering all my spectral energy, I willed myself into a semblance of form. It was a struggle, but the desire to connect gave me strength. My image shimmered, a translucent reflection of my former self. I could see the faint outline of my body, a ghostly echo of who I once was. I reached out, my spectral hand hovering over hers. The air between us seemed to crackle with energy, a bridge between two worlds. For a moment our eyes met. In that brief connection I felt a surge of emotions, both hers and mine, intertwining. A flicker of recognition, of shared sorrow passed between us. It was as if she could see into my very soul, understanding my pain and loss. Her eyes widened, reflecting a mixture of awe and terror. She seemed to grasp the significance of our encounter. The thin veil between life and death momentarily lifted. My heart, a phantom echo of its former self, pounded against my non-existent ribs. The sensation was both familiar and alien, a reminder of the life I once lived and the connection I still yearned for. And then, just as quickly as it had formed, my spectral image dissolved. It was as if the very essence of my being was pulled away by an unseen force, leaving behind only a faint memory of my presence. I was left trembling, the effort leaving me drained. Every attempt to reach out, to connect, seemed to sap the last remnants of my strength, making me feel more ethereal and distant. The girl remained frozen, her gaze fixed on the spot where my hand had almost touched hers. Her eyes were wide with a mixture of fear and wonder, as if she had glimpsed something beyond the veil of reality. Did she see me? Did she feel the weight of my sorrow, the depth of my love? Or was it just a fleeting moment, a brush with the unknown that would soon be forgotten? Or was I simply a figment of her imagination, a trick of the fading light? The room grew dimmer, shadows lengthening as if to swallow the memory of our encounter. I do not know, but in the silence that followed, I felt a glimmer of hope, a fragile, delicate hope that perhaps in some small way I had made a difference. A hope that even in death our connections to the living remain, that the bonds we forge in life are not easily broken, transcending the boundaries of existence. A hope that whispers of love, loss, and eternity echo through the ages, binding us together in ways we may never fully comprehend. These echoes, faint yet persistent, remind us that we are never truly alone, even in the vast expanse of eternity.